So your dad hurts his knee, your mom's taking care of him, and they get married.
Yeah.
Was she mainstream LDS too?
Yeah, she was born and raised LDS.
All right. How in the world did they become part of AUB?
Fast forward probably like 14 years down the road. My dad started reading into old church books.
So you're talking like history of the church?
Yeah, but like more...
Teachings of the prophet?
Yes, there's certain books and stuff that the LDS church doesn't really like you reading because it, goes more into detail of, church history and stuff.
So he was here, or the church is at base level here. In the teachings, you go to church, his faith, repentance, baptism, all this stuff, and that's where he's at. Then as you go on, you learn more stuff. Well, it sounds like your dad, that stuff wasn't enough for him, so he had to go to that next level and really learn about what was going on. And so in church history, of course, he was going to come across polygamy.
Yeah.
And that's how he got started in it?
Yeah, and it was, it was more than just the polygamy side of things. It was, going back to the very foundation of all of it, how it was originally restored.
So
was
straight up Joseph Smith.
In seeing these books around the house and knowing that my dad was reading them, I didn't know that there was anything different about them, and so I had no idea, how it was going to change things for us. It changed things pretty drastically because we ended up joining a different religion as a result of it.
When they came and said, hey, we want to join the AUB church, what did you think?
I didn't fully understand. I was only, I think I was 11, 11, 12, somewhere in there. And so I didn't fully understand what they were saying. I know that for them, it wasn't an easy choice because they knew that from there that they would end up being excommunicated from the LDS church, that they would lose a lot of friends, even potentially family because of it.
So you're sitting in this family meeting, and I mean, how does this whole polygamy thing get sprung on you? Your dad's saying, hey, we're going to bring in and you're going to have a new mom.
No, so I know that we had that somewhere in the original conversation, that obviously polygamy was brought up. It's actually referred to as plural marriage. When things started to change for me was when my mom and dad decided to start courting other people, also known as dating. Honestly, in the beginning of having someone new come around our family, we knew that there was some sort of courtship or something going on. It was interesting, but I think that I've always been more on the accepting side. And so it's just okay, you're just kind of supposed to trust that your parents are just doing what they're supposed to do. It did get progressively harder on my end, seeing there be affection or, stuff like that. That was hard for me. They had asked about different people. That's kind of the route that you go, is you have to ask about them. That means you go to their dad and ask permission to get to know this person.
Sure.
And then there was one that he, had asked about, and then they ended up courting. And so she was around the family and everything.
How old were you?
At this point, I think I was 12 or 13, right in there.
Okay, so 12 or 13, you come from a family that you guys talk a lot, you come together, and you love your mom. Your mom takes care of you, dad's away doing his military stuff. What does that do to you? You
mean seeing my dad dating someone else?
Yeah.
It was hard.
In the open?
It was confusing for me because, I was raised LDS. I was raised that, you have husband and wife, and if you see your dad with someone else, he's cheating on your mom. And so it was hard, but, I was also this was supposed to be right.
Did you get angry?
And, not in the beginning. I didn't. I remember there were times, the first time I saw him kiss her, I remember being angry. My mom was actually pretty on board, as a wife could be, with their husband courting someone else. But also, one thing that people need to understand is within the AUB it's not just the husband doing it on his own. My mom had to be on board with it, otherwise it wasn't going to happen.
Did you ever go up to him and say, Dad, what the hell?
No.
You never, but you guys communicate.
Yeah, we communicated as a family, not individual. Not necessarily.
One-on-one.
No, not really. Like I could with my mom. I didn't really a whole bunch with my dad. When my dad took on his second wife, we did, welcome her with open arms, as much as we had the emotional and mental capacity to. So my dad, wanted us to call our mom Susie, and I wasn't okay with that because I always looked at her as like, she's not my mom. Like my mom is my mom. And so what a common practice within the AUB is you call them like their aunt. So Aunt Susie is what I called her, or Susie.
I think there's a lot of people out there that really don't get this side of, call it plural marriage, call it polygamy, call it whatever you want. As your 12-year-old, at that age where a lot of stuff is going on inside of you and you're trying to understand and trying to grasp, and you got a great relationship with your mom, and then also you see your dad courting and then kissing another lady. The crazy thing about that is that there's people that are in polygamy now that are going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just confusion.
Yeah.
And what would you tell those girls that are seeing the same thing you saw?
I don't know, because I don't even know what I would tell myself. I wasn't raised to feel like I could really question my dad. I don't know, I think I lived the majority of my life just wanting to make my dad happy.